A lot. A lot. We began going back. We began the return trip back. I say return trip. It's not that we were staying here. We talked with... we debriefed with Lord Coldwin, our Lord's Alliance member, who has a lovely wife that no one thirsts after. No one in company thirsts after at all. And after talking... Yeah. Wow. He said, I mean, after talking to Lord Coldwin, he inquired, like, this is like specifically to Jericho, like, this is the third time you saved this village. And it's like, yep. It's like, what have you gotten as a reward for it? The satisfaction of a job well done, essentially. To which he's like, interesting. That's sort of bullshit. Here, take this coin, which has my emblem upon it. And if you go to Andorra and find my house, they will trade you that coin for, was it 7,000 gold?
8,000.
8,000, my bad. 8,000 gold. And we're like, oh, shit. And even when trying to decline the generous gift, he's just like, good work doesn't require a reward. He's just like, you're right. But as part of my good work, I'm going to see that you are rewarded. So take this fucking coin. So we got that.
Yeah. We did our cool secret handshake, and he walked away. That's right.
Yeah, he moonwalked away, actually. But yeah, that was fun aside with Lord Coldwin. We regrouped with our fellow watchmen. Obviously, in various states of intactness, I guess the best way to describe it. And we went to go dig out the Malfistos at the river. Down by the river, which would have taken probably a fucking hour or two, but then Mule just sort of made an icebreaker, ice digger sort of contraption, and he's just like, I got it. And we're like, do you need help? No, you slow me down. And we're like, okay, fair enough. Mule does mule things, fair enough.
Good work, Mule. Okay.
Good work, Mule. Quint did grab or requisition a snack from Bradford to give to Mule for his hard work. And while we were waiting for Mule to do our work for us, Lucky divulged the epic, amazing tale of how he and Oni managed to 2v1 one of the champions through a series of flourishes and subterfuge and cunning and not chicanery. They didn't talk at him. Well, I guess they started taunting him. But yeah, it was an amazing epic tale. Go watch the VOD for the full account. We also noticed that Savage was paying a keen interest in Mule and just sort of pondering his nature and how he's sort of defiant of it. And we had gotten a bit of a theological, what is purpose in life sort of talk. But that didn't last because Captain showed up and he's like, "All right, time to leave. We got the Mephistos. Time to leave." After that, we began planning on what the breakdown was of people who need regeneration, as well as we need to transport the captured Malfisto to the God's Eye, so that we could, have a leg up in the exhibition match. So 3 avenues were created. One team going to the God's Eye with the Malfisto, one team going to Almira, and then one team going to the Chrysantine Hold. Most people are going to the Chrysantine Hold. That's not too surprising. I believe it was Lucky, Oni, Flora, and
Savage.
Odd Maggie.
I think Savage. No, Savage went to Almira. But anyways, those people went to the God's Eye. Lucian. Oh, thank you. That saved me so much effort. So each lieutenant went a separate way. Oh, they did say Savage. And then, this is the breakdown. The people in Almira are going to group up with Cold Skullbillar. Still haven't met him yet, but he sounds cool. Whereas nearly the rest of us are going to the Chrysantine Hold, leaving behind a skeleton crew at the forward operating base, the FOB, of obviously our Captain Solstice, Dayrun. I thought for a second his code name was Boogeyman, but no, that's just very coincidentally placed. I'm like Daxos, Boogeyman. Ooh, I'm like, wait, no. Daxos, the Blood Knight, and obviously Rocket. I don't even know if we actually know Rocket's actual name at this point, but whatever. He probably openly accepts Rocket. But yeah, so we left behind a skeleton crew at the forward operating base, and the rest of us, went back to the Chrysantine hold, splitting into 2 separate teams because obviously Seraph is injured, Quint is injured, and we can't keep the recruits in the same team for security reasons, for covering reasons. On the return trip, Quint did stop by the place where he regrouped a caster after coming back out of the Golden Ziggurat, trying to find traces of him. There were no traces of him. Sad emoji. And we continued on our way to the Chrysantine hold, where we stopped by the front gate. Quint grabbed a fistful of his own quote-unquote grave dirt, and Captain Riker regrouped with us. Yeah. I believe he said something along the lines of, well, look who it is. Quint, you son of a bitch. Gave him a hug, and then he escorted us in. And he basically talked about, who was on site currently. Most of the recruits are out, I believe, for their specialization training. Maybe we do have the Tinker Soul with us, the little gnome watch associate, whose name I forget to be perfectly honest with you. We also have Sister Rayla. Actually, can you take us to the compound screen, please? I'll show off the breakdown a bit. On site with us, in terms of our class, our upper class is Erica, Doran, and Briggy. And Carolyn.
Okay.
And Gregor. And
Gregor.
I think that's it. Okay. Carolyn and Gregor came back with a full pack of Volves. And we got to see the inside of the officer, or I guess the watchman quarters, as opposed to the cadet quarters. And we got to see basically like this breakdown where there are 2 wings, left and right side, which the right wing broke down into quarters for each captain. Oh, perfect. The quarters for each captain. We have Captain Maeve on the top right, Captain Riker on the bottom right, and then Commander Donner in the middle right, which is noticeably sparse. Gonna do a cool call out. If you guys highlight the question marks on the bottom right, those are each of Captain Riker's trophies. And they all have a little tooltip, which will tell you exactly what they are, which I fucking love. Enjoy those at your own perusal. When we walked in, we bumped... When we entered in, we were going to go locate Sister Rayla, because obviously we have injured people. And when we went to the Watchman quarters, we bumped into Briggy, sporting a brand new set of armor, as well as a new shield. She won the armor thanks to Doran, who had basically set up a litigious argument for her to 1v1 a Dwarven noble, to which she didn't even bring a weapon to headbutt them into submission. And she finally learned how to craft something in the form of that shield. Well, maybe not the shield, but at least the rune on it, because she is lost Astorian rogue. She was disappointed in Quinn for not messaging her. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Ugh, cuts me deep. Quint did inquire with her if Sharina Shamash was on site, to which she's like, "No, you fucking idiot. She left last week." To Quint's dismay. While Quint was literally beating his head against the pillar, Booyog and Jericho escorted Seraph over to Sister Rayla, who was talking with Ezekiel, brother Ezekiel. And, the bottom line is the process of regeneration is started, but will take a few days before it's fully recovered. So it'll be repeated treatment of a 7th level spell, if I remember regeneration correctly. So they dropped off Seraph there. They heard thumping in the hallway. Clint admitted to, maybe I shouldn't do theatric, dramatic returns, because it seems to bite me in the ass. Speaking of sending out dramatic returns biting him in the ass, Gregor also showed up and did not punch Clint. We'll say that for later. Did not punch Clint about not being informed. And that's when the suspicion was cast upon Carolyn of, we have a spy in our midst. Gregor wasn't sure if that was the case, but, didn't outright deny it, but just didn't believe it. So, we'll figure it out. We'll get to the bottom of this, gang. We left the Watchman quarters and bumped into our favorite war criminal in the making. Because, well, maybe she's getting better. I don't know. We bumped into Erica. And then she was like, oh, Clint messaged me that he was alive. Everyone hit exit out on that. Everyone immediately had exited out on that. But yeah, we caught up with her, and we got to enjoy her sickeningly sweet demeanor.
Which she was saying things like, "Oh golly gee."
Oh golly gee, Gregor, do you really mean it?
She's turned over a new leaf. She's
just
annoying now.
Turned over a new leaf. Quinn did inquire with her about her journal, which she promptly deflected and dismissed. Her research journal, that is. And then we're like, yeah, we're gonna go talk to Carolyn. And she's like, and that sounds boring, I'm out. And she immediately left. So, yeah. We went to go talk with Carolyn and catch up with her. She told us about how her and Gregor managed to locate this new pack of wolves. One such wolf, which is not with us, unfortunately, was potentially the Wolf of Vision that Gregor saw, and we got that wolf's pup. Its name I don't recall. It was something poetic. I remember. What was the cub's name? The pup's name?
I want to say Renata.
Renata.
Was right.
Renata. Yeah. I don't know how I forgot that. I have a buddy named Renato, and I was like, oh, it sounds really close. Anyways.
Oh my god, yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah, you've met Renato. Anyways. Yeah. Anyways. So she told us the story of how they had to go fight a Vargul? That was it? That was a Type 5 they had to fight? Yeah. They had to fight a Vargul, and without this wolf pack, which had been basically dedicating themselves to tracking and hunting down the Vargul, interestingly enough, without this wolf pack, it would have been a one-sided fight. More of a slaughter, really. But hey, they got the wolf pack, and it only cost the Mama Vision Wolf's life. But hey, on the bright side, Renata, in a good/sad way, won't remember its mom, as they had to cut Renata out. I don't know. Take that how you will. But inevitably, we had the serious discussion of Carolyn, are you a fucking spy? To which she was rightfully offended after all we've been through for the past 5 years. We gave our reasonings, and she definitely gave her counter pushback, particularly against Jericho.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it became nobody being like a treasoneer and him being a vampire, and it was like,
yeah. It was rough. It was rough. Quint did throw down the ultimatum, if you can't treat him like a brother because he's twisted in nature, he went demi-dritch for him, then that means you can't do it. You can't trust me either. So, yep. But the bottom line was, Carolyn said, ideally truthfully, that she is not the traitor. She revealed no information, and what's the line? You can't take back some words. Yeah, that's what happened. So we were left in we were flummoxed, befuddled. That was our prime suspect. So if it wasn't her, who could it possibly have been?
Oh, so Clint destroyed like a utility closet when he tried.
I did destroy a supply closet because when you enter demi-dritch form, it does a radiant explosion. Yep. We'll figure that out later. We'll pay it back with the non-existent money I have. But yeah, we tried to figure out who is our next suspect then, and we're just like, well, why don't we ask the biggest spook of the compound, Commander Donner, which we agreed on the way in. We went to the commander, who was in the middle of eating. Was he eating like a cracker or something like that? Wafers. Yeah, he's eating a wafer, which was actually eating a wafer in real life, so it was perfect. And we asked him, how much did you hear? Enough. Ooh, echo. He said he had heard enough, and we asked him what his thoughts were on the matter, and he's just like, well, she could be lying, and we're like, yeah, but if she was lying, that's crossing another line, which we just crossed one and failed, so maybe she's not lying. He's like, maybe it's me. And we're like, yeah, but if it's you, then we're fucked anyway, so what are other options? And then he's just like, what are other options indeed? Let me see your rings. To which we all turned over our rings, our Blockwatch rings, to which he put in a little pouch, tied it to a crossbow, and shot it into the lake. Then he told us the big news. Hold on to your seats. Commander Donner posits upon us that perhaps the traitor in question is not someone in this compound. Rather, the traitor is the person that could tap into our rings. The person that we have a direct line to. He posits that the person who sold us out was the Grand Watcher himself. Which we're like, hold on a fucking second. what you're saying sounds like actual treason. And then he just simply continued on the lines of, have you thought about how the Watch has been doing this for so long, and we've never really made any impact, nor lost it? Well, I guess technically we haven't lost any ground either, but, holding even sounds perfect for someone else to set up the perfect scenario. He posits that the Watch is corrupt, at its top level at the very least. Maybe that's just the Grand Watcher, maybe not. The current Grand Watcher has only been around for a couple of decades, I want to say. Long enough that Sebastian was here when the previous Grand Watcher was. And Sebastian was like 60 or so. So he saw the transition, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no reason to suspect any previous Grand Watcher, but at the very least, this current Grand Watcher is not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows how far down that goes. Something I thought about in between weeks is the situation in which a Grand Watcher is set up, if that makes sense, is the Sisters of Light supposedly determine who the Grand Watcher is. The Grand Watcher has to come from the Rangers, and more importantly, the Rangers are picked out into being wardens. A small subsect of wardens are sent out on a high-level threat mission in the ZLZ. The last group of wardens, there are 4 of them. One of them was Captain Gregorio. Well, he lost his captain position thereafter. One is Captain Boone, Sebastian's captain, who is, captain of the Rangers today. One is a madman. No one knows what happened to them, but they're alive. The other is our current Grand Watcher. So no one actually knows who our current Grand Watcher is, and all record of them is scrubbed from the books. Which is why our Black Watch rings have a direct connection to the Grand Watcher, because how would you know to sending someone that doesn't exist anymore, right? Doesn't work that way. It maintains anonymity. I wonder if, how to say this, how do we know which one was the madman, and how do we know which one was the picked Grand Watcher? How would you know? If no one's supposed to know who the Grand Watcher is when they come out of that mission, how would you know? So, maybe some crazy bullshit for later, that the actual Grand Watcher is in the insane asylum somewhere. Probably Golden Ziggurat if I were to put money. Regardless. Commander Donner told us to... What's up?
I was going to say, Gregor also brought up that Leona gave us coordinates for Renvark with all the Sister of Light Academy.
Yep, which is a big question of how are the Sisters of Light brought into their sisterhood and stuff like that, which is a question for potentially later today. Donner said there's only a very limited subset of people that we can trust with this conspiracy. Obviously, the people present, which includes 2. Who's congratulations, 2. You're now a conspirator. You sink or swim with us.
You've been conscripted.
You've been conscripted. You've been voluntold. So we have 2. We have the upperclassmen here, the underclassmen here, Commander Donner's captains, obviously, Maven and Riker. And then from there, I think it's a bit of a question of who else is on that list. If we go back to the title slide, those are the people that we can trust. Everyone else, any other Watchmen, is iffy. And that's going to be a question. How many Watchmen are good versus how many Watchmen are lawful? Who's going to follow orders versus do what's right against orders? So, we'll fucking see. Oh yeah, of course we got 7, Julius, Jonna Marbrook, Sister Rayla. Which time for Easter egg or hint time. In Captain Riker's room, there's a vanity mirror, which Captain Riker probably isn't the sort of person that cares much for his appearance, given that he wears a mask all the time. And there are 2 chairs in there. Captain Riker is confirmed getting some. Let it be known. Aside from that, we don't know how far the listening device capability of our Black Watch rings are, which is when Captain Donner laid out the ultimatum for us of assume the worst possible option, that they are always listening. Maybe they can't. Maybe they can only be tapped into with focus. Regardless, don't test it. Just assume any conversation while there's a watch ring nearby is being listened in on. We have 5 sending. What's up?
Oh, go on.
We have 5 sending scrolls in the compound. Commander Donner is going to use 3 of them. The last 2 are in question, but we'll talk about that later. But Commander Donner does plan on, he plans on orchestrating things. Because this compound is basically being set up against the rest of them. Quinn also did divulge to the commander that he set up a rendezvous, a meeting with the Grand Watcher himself, to which Donner said, "You better get ready for the most fucking awful interrogation of your life. And do not let overconfidence get the better of you, just because you went against the prince." So that'll be fun. But if you guys look at the lineups for our exhibitions, we have our upper class going against the Bloodcloaks. We have our underclass going against Eastwatch, and both our captains are facing other captains. There is no other compound out there that's doing the whole gauntlet with everything they have. Only us.
Yeah, we sort of talked about how the God's Eyes looking mighty suspicious with this conspiracy in mind.
Yep. We have not told any of our upperclassmen yet, and maybe we should keep it that way for the time being. But I'm sure will get into that in a little bit. So far, no one aside from the people that were talking with Donner was Gregor, Jericho, 2 if that's a real name, which is not technically, and Quinn. And obviously Donner himself. I believe he'll be talking in one way or another in conspiracy with everyone else in terms of his officers and stuff like that.
Yeah, he said he was going to do like some things on his own, looking into things, because he wanted to make sure things were handled like delicately.
Yep. Something for all our notes: John Marbrook is on site. Captain Maven is not. He's in Andorra. The speculation is that to keep him clean of the splash damage, which is our compound. So he's in Andorra. Julius is not on site, if I remember correctly. Neither is
Correct.
7.
Also correct.
Yeah, so we just have Riker, Brother Ezekiel, and John Marbrook. Oh, and Sister Rayla, obviously. For our high-ups, if you want to call them that.
And there's Watchman and Klein.
We do have Klein, who is from the Hold, which is potentially still not our friend. Our ally, rather.
We don't know if we can trust him to the same degree yet.
We'll find out. But I think that about sums it up. A lot to cover.
Donner did talk about that we're going to use a patsy to try and draw out a...
I totally forgot about that. How dare I?
Yeah. One of the biggest parts of the last session.
Wait, hold on.
Right. My bad.
And we're all Donner to portray anyone.
Donner wants us to set up a patsy because now we've kicked the hornet's nest by starting this investigation into a traitor. So the powers that are listening need to ensure that we have concluded our investigation. And they don't want to kill us. So thusly, we need to set up a patsy. Someone that we can pin as the traitor and be like, we did it, team! We deduced the traitor! And he said that we had already picked a very prime suspect in the form of Carolyn. So thusly, Carolyn should be the patsy. To which, immediately, some complaints were made. Gregor said, maybe it's me, maybe it could be me. Quinn said, maybe it could be me. It cannot be either of us, so he says. The current, because multiple reasons. Either because we're dangerous assets or because we're too valuable assets. But that leaves our options of the Watchmen on site. Doran, Briggy, Erica, Carolyn. According to Commander Donner, at least. Which I'm gonna fight fucking tooth and nail for that. But anyways. Carolyn is the prime one. Doubly so because the rings heard us pick her. So, yeah.
And we're going to have a mission in a few days to clean up the undead left from the necromancer. Or something like that. And that was going to be when he commences his patsy operation.
Correct. During our patsy operation, we will have the opportunity to consolidate all the rings on mission and quiet them. Not just the person that's a patsy, but all of us in general, where we can debrief as to what is actually happening. For the patsy in question, they will be iced during the operation, and their ring will be chucked into the mouth of one of the undead to be digested until that thing breaks, or until the undead breaks, one or the other. And then from there, that person is basically in exile, whoever the patsy ends up being. Fun times.
Yeah, I think that covers everything.
This time it covers everything.
For real? For real this time? Not going for the magical 3?
It's not a fun conversation.
It is not. So, yeah.
Oh, I will say one other thing is we do have a dragon soul on site, but it is not Esmeralda.
Yeah, and
someone else, and Riker said to steer clear of her.
You have a token for that person?
Right there.
Oh, she looks evil, like high key.
What are you talking about, dude? She looks totally fine.
It looks totally fine. I do like how you've gotten a very mirrored image of Esmeralda's token going on here.
Thank you.
I think Esmeralda
took some work to find.
Oh god.
It took some work to get there, but I found something that
it.
Yeah. If I can spell Esmeralda and pull her token up, I can compare them.
M-E.
There's no guarantee I spelled it right. That's the problem.
Lucian is not on site currently.
Correct, but there is a recall for everyone to get.
Yeah.
So he'll probably be here by the time we're doing the operation in a couple days.
Yeah.
So, yeah, with all that in play, what do you do as Commander Donner goes to make his preparation?
There was one small thing we glossed over in the recap. Seraph gave the heliosphere lock thing to Sister Rayla to see if they could open it.
See, there's always something we're forgetting. She wasn't sure.
There's something else.
Yeah, now at this point,
there has to be something. I just don't know what it is.
Who knows? Who fucking knows? We'll just keep going, and if we remember, we remember it. Easy.
Exactly.
Easy clip.
Easy clap.
So speaking of keep going, Commander Donner says I should go.
I should go.
I should go.
Jericho's gonna go get his ring back. He doesn't say much when he leaves. In fact, he says nothing.
Does the commander actually take the time to walk away, or does he just ghost away like a fucking ninja?
He just kind of goes to the opposite